Good evening. We'll call the meeting to order. The Historic Resource Commission is charged with promoting and enhancing and preserving the character of the historic district as well as landmarks, including the Courthouse Square Historic District. If we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now have a moment of silence. We will now have the minutes reviewed and approval for August 5th meeting. Commissioners, have you had an opportunity to look over the minutes? And if so, are there any concerns, corrections?
No, I move that we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes will be accepted and documented as written. We now have on our agenda some new business. We're called here today. Part of our meeting is going to be looking at the possibility of getting an application to the state for the UCC Children's Chapel Historic Landmark application. And we're just going through the first steps tonight. So this is the initial, excuse me, process. Do I have any reports from the staff? If you can bring us up to date and pretty much guide us on this process.
Yes, ma'am, of course, no worries. This may look a little bit familiar to you all. I know it's possibly come up in the past. But whenever it was sent out last, I guess there was some significant comments from the side of the State Historic Preservation Office, where it needed to come back in front of all for a more in-detailed report, which was provided. So just a general overview, as I'm sure you've heard, but an existing church is looking to acquire designation as a historical landmark inside the City of Graham Historical District. The process is for the HRC to review the documents that have been provided to you and today for completion and determine if the application or site is worthy of designation. The request will then be forwarded to the State Historic Preservation Office for comments. The State Historic Preservation Office will then forward their response back to determine whether or not the report establishes the property's historical significance and fully account for its condition/degree of integrity. If they give a favorable recommendation, the HRC will then recommend the landmark designation to City Council, where there will be a public hearing held on the fact as well, and ultimately City Council will decide in tandem with you all to approve the landmark or not. And pretty much everything that you would like to find is inside of your packet materials. There's the initial application stating its significance, followed by the lengthy report prepared by the folks with the church as well. I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look at it and read through it. We do have some of the people from the church here today if they would like to go into some of the significance of some of the properties with some of the pictures that are associated with it too. So that pretty much sums it up on my side. There is a recommended motion language for whatever you may want to do after the fact. All this is heard on the staff report sheet as well, just in case you need that and have it handy.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the staff?
No.
If there are none, are there any persons available tonight or here tonight that wish to come forth and speak on the behalf of your application that you submitted? And this application is going to be looked at tonight for submission to the state, where they would make a decision on whether or not it could be adopted into our historic district. Then they would come back to us, and the council as well as this commission will hear from there. If there's any person available, if you please come up to the podium, to the microphone, please state your name and address.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Bill Mebane. My address is 1213 Trollinger Road, Graham, North Carolina. I'm a deacon at Children's Chapel United Church of Christ.
Okay. And Mr. Mebane, do you have any comments or concerns or anything that you would want to address tonight in making this application to be more prominent over whatever we have in front of us? Is there anything you'd like to add? to help us to collect data to be able to put this before the state?
Some of the things that I would just like to add is the attention that our church gets, okay? One thing I wanted to remind you is, week before last, we were part of the Alamance Historical Tour.
Mhm.
This was our first time doing that. I think we had approximately 121 people who toured our facility along with our grave site. I was amazed at the number of people who made the comment, we've been by this church so many times and we wondered what it looked like on the inside.
Oh, wow.
And they were just fascinated at the stained glass, at the how the stained glass was donated to the facility. They were even more fascinated at our cemetery. We're one of the few churches that has a church cemetery. Uh, and we had some people just came and they wanted to take pictures of this plots.
Mm-hmm.
I think we found the oldest plot. I found the oldest plot as being 1892 with the person being born 1820. There were some ladies out there. I mean, they were all over the place looking and taking pictures. And they were just fascinated at the history that came with our church, along with the special reserve cemetery plots that we have for Cola Russell, who was one of the first Black uh, prominent men in the city of Graham. He was a businessman. I think he was one of the first people to put money in the Graham Savings and Loan Bank. He was very highly spoken of, and like I said, he was well liked by the church, and also he liked the church because he left us money to continue to support that cemetery. So other comments that we get from our church over the past is, can you leave your lights on during Christmas? Because you can't ask for a better Christmas card than to ride down Hardin Street and see those stained glass windows, okay, at night. And then the neighbors across from us, when it snows, they want us to leave the lights on because there again, that's a Christmas card image. Other people say when you come into Graham, after you get off the interstate, one of the first things you see is our steeple in our church. Our church is not only a landmark, but it's a direction guide because people say, well, when you come into Graham, you take a right at the church, you
Yeah.
keep straight past the church, or you turn left at the church.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a landmark and it's a guidance it's a GPS figure for the church. So with all this in mind, the fact that we have members there who are in excess of 100 years old. A few months ago, you honored one of our members, Clint Mara, who turned 100 years old. He's been a member of our church since he was a child. We have other members who have been there for 75 years or more. And like I said, it's just that our church stands for something and we love it, we respect it, we appreciate what we have. And we would just like to, when we celebrate our 150th anniversary this year, I spoke to the city council and I spoke to David Tronger spoke to the mayor. And he said, how can we help you? And I said, I want us to be a historical site. I mean, I think we've earned it after 150 years. We've been serving in this community. We've held, during the COVID time, we had where you could drive through and get the COVID test. We've served the homeless. We've had all sorts of things to support our community. And like I said, I feel like our church is worthy of the title of being a historical site in the city of Graham, North Carolina. It'll be good for our church as well as good for this community as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are there any opposing parties here tonight? Anyone that opposes this idea? If so, they need to come forth. Or are there any other persons from this particular church that would like to come forth tonight?
Can I be seated?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Okay. If you please stand to the microphone and state your name and address, please, ma'am.
Jennifer Talley, 808 Sideview Street. So I have been to Children's Chapel many times and talked to David, probably been about a year ago now. Wasn't it before Christmas last year? Yeah, about doing this landmark application, when we were going to the DOT meetings, I think the thing that frustrated me most about the roundabout was that I kept hearing from people that were saying, well, they designated the laundromat that was built in the early 90s as a site that couldn't be touched because it, it serviced, you know, I think their words were a marginalized community. And I said, you know, the person that owns that business doesn't care anything about keeping that, because it, all the way back when it was built, Albright Avenue was supposed to be coming through to go all the way to Burlington. And I had actually reached out to him, and I was a little bit frustrated with that whole, because they didn't seem to have any problem with messing with the church that had been there for 150 years. And it really upset me, and I was very much an advocate about that. And um, very frustrating because it seems like they hold these public meetings, but they've already got their mind made up. They're not going to change the um, engineered plans. They're not going to, I mean, they made as many concessions as they could based on on the feedback. But I believe some people maybe even came to a meeting here from your church, because I invited them to come because I was getting pretty frustrated because here you have a building that's made out of cinder block that's a laundromat. We have plenty of laundromats in Graham. It was going to displace anybody from being able to do their laundry. And to me, the more important and certainly the more historically significant property was Children's Chapel. And I didn't want to see anything changed on that. And I do believe they were able to change it based on those comments that we gave in those public hearings, to at least not mess with, because they were going to take out even a larger section, I think, in the front yard. And so we were able to stop that. But I'm speaking here tonight mainly asking the commission to please give them this landmark status, because when you have landmark status, that holds some weight with DOT. And if that road is ever widened, I mean, we can't foresee in the future what's going to happen, but 20 years from now, if that road is ever widened or anything like that, we don't want them taking out the whole front of their front yard. And this landmark status will prevent that from happening and will protect that church for years to come, not just for these parishioners that go there now, but for their grandchildren and the future attendees of Children's Chapel. It's a very, very important building, and it has a lot of significance. And I had learned, I guess, through the tour about Coley Russell. Coley Russell, for years, um, he owned a lot of property there on Trollinger, and his family was the one that gave all the land to the city of Graham for Bill Cook Park. I always argued, Chuck and I argued, because we were like, I think the only people that came, gosh, probably been 20 some years ago, or close to 30 years ago. We wanted the park to be named after Coley Russell and the Russell family, because they had given the land to the city. And to me, it made more sense. I mean, if you give acreage for a park to be built, seems like if anybody, it's going to be named after anybody, it seems like it should have been named after him. And we knew Coley Russell from stories my husband's grandfather told us years and years ago. He was a tinsmith and a plumber and had a business right here in the old Isley building there. And it was literally packed from ceiling to the floor with all sorts of parts. It was like the modern day, what a hardware store would be. But you go in there, and Papa would say that you go in there looking for something, and he would disappear to the back, and sure enough, he'd come back. He knew where everything was in the store. You might not be able to find it, but he could always find it. And another little interesting story about Coley Russell was that he was the first person. There's an article in the Alamance Cleaner that I talk about Coley Russell, in some of the tours that I give, the historical tours that I give, he took a trip across the United States to
Mm.
California, which in the early 1900s, that was a big deal.
Mhm.
You know, so he went the north side there and took the south side back. And when he came back, everybody was writing in the paper and the Alamance Cleaner about what he was able to see and where he stayed and everything. And I mean, that's really roughing it, I'm sure, back then in the early 1900s. But like I said, he was a self-made millionaire, really. I mean, I don't know if he was a millionaire back then, but in standard times, he was a self-made millionaire. And was one of the first depositors there at the bank. And they talk about him in the Durwood Stokes building. But, you know, we heard a lot about him from just stories that Papa would tell. And when they did work together all after World War II, they did a lot of building together. He's a plumber, and Papa was a general contractor. That Coley would chase him down the street and say, "You need to give me a bill, Earl." And he'd say, "Oh, I'll get it to you." He said, "No, no, you need to get me a bill right now." And Papa would always say, when you got finished doing something, he wanted to pay you right then. He wanted to make sure you got paid right then. Yeah, he said he never went to bed owing anybody a dime. And he was just a good person. And you know, our grandfather thought the world of him, and just really a tribute to this community. Yep. So that's mine. Has a lot of stories and a lot of historical significance, and we need to protect it, not just for today, but 40 years from now, 50 years from now. We want to make sure it's here, and that if DOT decides to do something, we want to protect everything that's over there, especially the cemetery.
Thank you so much. We can call to close the meeting and discuss it. I make a motion that we have a closed session at this time.
A second.
Favor, okay. Um,
Yeah, yeah. So I gotta find the thing. Yeah, I move that we approve the application for historic landmark status as complete, worthy of designation, and allow for the report and application to be forwarded to the State Historic Preservation Office for their review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming out, and we look forward to seeing you back here again This is the initial process, and we have gotten this done, so we're looking forward to working alongside with you. You have any questions, Cameron West is normally going to be our go-to. He's right here, and then he will pass along any information that I would need to know and the board would need to know. And congratulations on tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much for coming out.
Let's take a picture. It's a big deal.
Okay, let's take a picture. Do we come there? They come up here?
Come right.
Let me put on clothes. I'm literally stripped here.
It's gonna be good. Go on.
Wow. I feel like
Go right there. I just
Show enough stars. If Mr. Clint Moore was here. We have
Doing good.
Yeah. That's my friend.
Everybody tighten up.
We all feel.
All right, look at this. Everybody smile, say cheese. Cheese. I think I got it.
Thank you. Great. Good. Thank you so much.
I'll make sure that you send. No, it's- She can send it. David, Dave can make sure y'all get it.
Yeah.
My granddaughter's running.
Yes, sir.
She's not even 8 years old yet. This is like a bribe. I don't know. Wait a minute. But now-
A lawyer.
I am about to burn up. I gotta get back out of this.
It got hot in here. I know, sometimes those places a little too cold, a little too warm. That's
Woo,
why I like-
it's hot
That's
in
why I
the
always
house.
do layers.
Yeah, I do layers, right.
Do layers.
And
Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, if we can move along with the next part of our meeting, please, call the meeting back to order. Where are my glasses? They're out there. Jesus. I left my glasses. Mr. Jim, can you have a glass? Yeah.
I got you, don't.
Yeah, I can't see a thing. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, we also have a facade grant tonight application. We had an opportunity to look at it through the email. If we have any persons present tonight that would like to defend this application or give us any updates or any added material, please come forth and speak into the microphone and state your name and address.
Just to, I guess while we're here, I guess, the 125 North Main Street, the Alco Theater, you know that one, right? It's the, yeah, yes, sir. They're up here.
We have them here.
Okay, all right, so. So Chuck Tally 808 Southie Street. So anyway, we're looking at, well, yeah, so what we're looking at doing is fixing the building back. You see currently right now to the right, there's the marquee, you see it stuccoed. So, when they'd put the metal storefront on, they had carved a lot of the brick off the columns and stuff. So we have to do a lot of brick, point up a lot of the brick and stuff. And after we get that done, we'll stucco the front back. And you see the swags that are hanging off the marquee. So we're wanting to build the marquee back like it is
It's
also,
disturbing.
like everything look historical. Yeah, so we just used historical pictures, so that's actually the Grim Cinema there, though, I think. But you see past it, the alcove. You see the alcove, and that picture there dates when it didn't have a stucco storefront. But since it's still got stucco on the side of the building and the condition of the brick are in really bad shape, so the only hope is stucco and it putting it back like it was probably in the fifties. We use a synthetic material that's fiberglass and, it's a system called Drive It. So it's an acrylic-based material that we'll trial on. We'll actually trial the color on.
Okay. Do you have any drawings or sketches of what you're actually going to be doing?
Other than putting it back like it is, I don't, but I mean, if you
Because I mean,
need
that's,
something, I could get something.
yeah,
I
that's-
could do a rendering.
I
for you
might-
if you want.
yeah,
If y'all don't mind, I can jump in. I think, last year, this got approved for a major COA. And that's why this is kind of coming back up, is the COA was approved as a major. I might be able to track down some of the stuff over there in our files that
Okay.
shows kind of probably
as long as we have it.
provided back then. But essentially they're coming back for facade funding for the
Right.
previously approved COA that's on one of those sheets up there. I
Right.
can't remember which one it is.
Hmm.
So it's already been
Currently-
an approved
currently-
work, but they're essentially
Right.
phasing it out for development.
Right,
So currently, they brick the storefront up when they put the metal front on it.
right,
All that'll be gone and it'll be back to having a glass storefront.
okay.
Yeah.
My other question is, I see one itemized quote and one non-itemized quote. We're supposed to have two itemized quotes for our guidelines.
Where'd the itemized quote at? It's from me.
There's one,
One itemized right there,
There's one right there.
and then the other one's just a flat rate. So that's not, that's a non-itemized quote. So we can't really use that one in this process.
With the original application,
So I guess I can get, him to itemize and send it back over. 'cause
Yeah.
that's a quote from last year.
That's all, just because it says it in the guidelines, that's all. I just have to follow that.
well, what I would like to see though, from the initial package from last year, we had, two itemized quotes.
yeah, and I think
So-
this is what was provided last year as well.
That's the same stuff. That's just.
Because this
been
one was
it's just
provided-
been re-
Looks like
So
November 3rd,
bud-
2023
budgetary
last year.
proposal.
That was before I had the rules,
Well,
though.
Yeah.
So you're thinking that Jennifer just resubmitted everything that we submitted the year before?
It
right?
looks the exact same. Yeah, it does.
So,
Don't ask
would you
me.
like to?
No, that's all I need is just another itemized quote to move forward with it.
Is that something you need to come back to have a meeting with, or? is it
No,
something
you
I need
just,
to
you
s-
can just submit it. At that
Oh.
point, it would no longer be, would it still be, would it be, Cameron, a question to you. Would it still be considered as a major? Would it be something minor that he can submit to staff?
That's already been done. This is only for the grant.
Right.
I need to make sure it's all in place for that process and it's. and
Right, but
we're
what I'm
submitting
saying, he
those.
wouldn't have to come back before us in order to get that submitted. He could send that through staff. And then if staff has any problems with it, then they could come back to us, but they wouldn't
That's
need to
y'all's
come.
call.
He wouldn't need to come back
Well, we-
here. to the
We've
committee.
already,
We've already
approved all the major
Right.
stuff. We
Major
already did
stuff.
that.
It's
So we
minor at
saw
this
all
point.
that.
Well, there's no difference between whether it's major or minor. Yes, the project itself has been approved, but what you're approving tonight is essentially grant funding for the project.
right.
I mean, what, I guess the discussion point is, I apologize, is Bushhausen? Boyshausen is stating that I guess the application in front of you all is incomplete as he doesn't believe the first quote is itemized enough to satisfy, I guess, the requirements of the facade grant application. One thing I
Itemization.
might, throw out, I guess, is it may be, I don't want to say inconsequential due to the fact of the difference in the price, because you're going to take the lower one to begin with.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that in our rules. It just
Fair enough.
says we have to have two, at least two.
How,
So,
could,
I mean, so you want to come back next month?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm fine with
I
that.
don't care, because I'm gonna apply for some other stuff when I come back. We'll just
Yeah.
kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, totally.
Is that fine?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna start within the next 30 days, I can assure you that.
yeah, we
We
I
gotta
mean, we
make
can
this
easily table
We got
this.
too much work to do volunteering to
Yeah,
start. It
Yeah.
won't be the spring of the year probably.
yeah, I just have to go
Is
with
there
what
a
the
deadline
guidelines say.
you gotta meet, Cameron, or does it matter?
So I believe it's gonna be completely up to them because we will probably re-advertise everything back out again, due to the fact of the, I guess, increments of funding we still have, for these types of applications. The same with the, one with the appearance of business beautification is very re-advertised. So if they would like to extend it, we could certainly do that tonight, whether that be until, the December meeting or even the January meeting, whichever one it works out with. We can essentially keep on extending it until the money's used up.
Yeah.
Is I guess where we could have that discussion, so.
Could we
It's okay.
stipulate, like, we could go ahead and get this handled and then,
That's
like, with the condition that, a second itemized statement is put in with this?
And yeah, that's my thought, is that it could be contingent upon the second itemized statement coming forth. And then that way, because because the reason why I'm saying that, we've already approved it, but if we're gonna reopen the grant, and then more people apply, we may lose
Hmm.
monies.
I guess a way that you could potentially look at it as well is,
Right.
regardless, I mean, I understand the itemized side of it, but both of them are gonna exceed the amount that is required of the $5,000, I guess. So
Mhm.
regardless if one is this and one is that,
Yeah.
it's still gonna be $5,000.
We can just approve the $5,000 contingent upon the itemized report come forth.
I'll be honest.
And we can give them a X amount of days. I would be willing to do that even. Let's just say within the next, I don't know what's reasonable, but I would say within the next 15 days, 15, 20 days. Would
Shouldn't be a
that be
problem.
enough time?
I mean, do you think that, I mean, even, I understand, the lack of that second itemized, but, like I said, I'm just trying to, I guess, speed things up here,
Yeah.
a little bit.
It's been before, but, okay, so what my recommendation is that, I'm going to piggyback off Mr. Young, and I'm going to respect what Mr. Buhausen is requesting. So with that having been said, I'm going to recommend that we do, recommend a motion that, we do have, the second itemized report come, but that we go ahead on and approve the money tonight contingent upon that report being submitted. That way we can get this passed along, and I'm sure that if they are interested in receiving the grant, that they would meet the requirements that we're setting forth tonight. But that is my recommendation.
That's your motion?
That's my motion.
Did you want to put a date? You mentioned a date.
Okay, I would put a date on it. Anybody have a calendar? What's today's date? Today is the 11th?
Today's the 12th.
Today is the 12th. And so let's say by the end of the month, 29th.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Are there any, are there any opposing parties or
Everything's
anything?
done, it doesn't
Well,
matter.
everything's done. Great.
Yep.
Okay, so now we can move past that, and if there are any reports and updates from council, we will hear them at that time. Council, any reports, any updates?
No, man, not
Thank you, sir. And we would like to recognize, though, that Mr. Hall is not just here he's going to be a part of this board going forth. He has come forth and volunteered to replace Mr. Parsons' position here with the board. So do you have anything you'd like to say to us, Mr. Hall, or anything? But we definitely welcome you, and we thank you for stepping up to the plate and volunteering your time to spend with this board.
Get, the rest of your board to show up. I'm a stickler for, if you wanna be on my board, you gotta show up.
I agree with that 100%. And we all have situations, and I'm not sure what happened tonight. We do have a very interested party, and I don't know if she's, experiencing some type of complications or not, but we definitely want her to be a part of the board if that is her desire. And then if not, we want to also leave the applications open, because this board used to consist of 7 members, and then we cut it back to 5, and then we have 3, we have a quorum, and that's always good because we can get business done. But I'd like to see more people digging in and getting involved and really making this a board where we can be capable of fulfilling our requirements. And it's going to be spring soon, and we're going to see a lot of building and a lot of applications coming forth, hopefully. So let's encourage people to come out and be a part of the board and get on the phone or do emails with the ones that's already been sworn in, because all of that is taxpayers' money. We go through the process and then we don't fulfill our obligation. So we do want to take this serious, and we want to thank everyone for showing up tonight. If there's no other business, do we have a report from the staff?
No, ma'am, not at this time. I appreciate y'all being here tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. West, for taking out your time and bringing along your fellow coworker. And thank you, sir, for stepping up and taking over from where Mr. Workman left off, and we wish him well as well. If there's nothing else, I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Madam Chairman,
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I think tonight's my last night on the board because I'll be sworn in before we have a chance to meet.
Mhm.
You,
That's right.
you may still be on this one because we meet on the first Tuesday of the month. So.
Okay.
Well, you might be good
All
for
right, well,
December.
never mind then.
You're the third
Okay.
Tuesday, aren't you?
I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
Well,
Second?
yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Thank you, guys, everybody, for coming out. I got a hitchhiker ride.
Now just turn the recording off.